Good morning and welcome to Morning Soulshine with Bridget. And we're so happy that you're with us on this morning. This is October, and in October, we recognize domestic violence. Domestic violence is a serious, serious issue in our country and around the world. And do you know that 1 out of 4 women are abused by an intimate partner, and 1 out of 3 men are abused? And on today, we have with us a very, very special guest. Her name is Maggie Kanzki, and she is a renowned relationship coach expert, a best selling author. Guys, she is an advocate for domestic violence. She's a TV producer. I'm just so honored to have her with me today. And Maggie, as we go through this interview, you're going to have to just tell us all about everything that you do. And thank you so much for being here.
Of course, because it's my pleasure to be here. Like you just mentioned, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And for all of us, I mean, whether you're a survivor or not, it's a time for us to reflect on the damages that's been causing so many lives. And it's also good for us to learn the history of these things, how it started, how did we get here? Why did we tolerate so much? Why did we stay? So we have more questions than answers. And today I'm here just to share a little bit about my own personal journey and also some of the things that I've learned along the way. So I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you for
Well,
having me.
thank you so much for being here. And there's so many questions I would like to ask you about your career, just everything. But let's start off with domestic violence. Why did you become an advocate?
This is a good question, Bridget, because I often ask myself that question. How did I get here? And I think it started when I signed up to do my internship, and I ended up at a place where they were servicing victims of domestic violence.
Okay.
I never acknowledged that I was a survivor. I never shared with anyone what I've been through. It was my secret, and the close family members that knew. It wasn't something that we talked about. It was too disgusting, it was too painful, it was too ugly. Who wants to talk about being abused by their spouse, a person who's supposed to help you and protect you and love you?
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I was doing my internship, I encountered a young lady, which I talk about in my book. And she used to come to the office with a friend, but she was always covered with layers and layers of clothing. Mind you, I was in South Florida. The summertime is, throughout the year. It's always nice and sunny and sometimes a little bit too hot. But seeing someone wearing layers and layers of clothing in that type of weather got my attention. And the first time I asked her, she didn't answer. I asked her again a second time. She didn't want to answer, so I figured I just left it alone. And eventually, as we started working together, she got closer to me. And one day she told me the reason that she was wearing all these layers of clothes was because her husband used her food and medication that she had to punish her every time she did something that he was not happy with. And in that moment, I realized, my gosh, this is wrong. We need a voice. But I never thought that I would be part of that voice. I just thought that we need someone to talk about this, to share the stories, to tell women what to do when they're in these kind of circumstances. But I did not know it was me. I didn't know that I was going to be part of this until I was at a point where I had to own my own voice. I was telling my clients what to do, and yet I was not doing that.
Now, were you in the domestic violence situation when you were speaking to your clients?
Yes, I just didn't know that I was at that time. Because in my life, in my eyes, I was happy. Yes, we had bad times. Yes, he said a lot of things that were, hurtful. But I did not associate them with domestic violence. To me, that did not exist where I come from. It was just, I did something wrong and he would punish me. and I deserved it. That's what I told myself, because he told me I deserved it. Every time, he will do something and take away something from me. So I blame myself. I didn't blame him.
And isn't it so real that we can look on the outside of ourselves and not look at the inside?
Yes. Yes. Yes, it's really hard for us to do that, because sometimes we see things we don't want to know about. We don't want to see them. It's too much. It's too heavy. It's too ugly. You don't want to see these things. It's easier to just pretend it doesn't exist and just go on about our lives. I'll get up every morning. I prep myself up looking all nice, go to work and come back home, pick up my kids from school, and go to parties, go to events. But no one knew. No one knew, because we play the role of good family. This is what it's supposed to be like. But it all started from where we were back. We didn't just invent this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, generation and generation tolerated it. I did some research trying to understand when, it okay. And I realized that this is way before my ancestors, like great grandmas, understood it was not okay, but nevertheless, in the environment that they were living in, it was okay for the husband to punish the wife. They even talk about the size of the belt or whatever thing that they were going to punish them, that it had to be certain size, and if that size was okay by the law, by the church, it was acceptable for the spouse to discipline his wife if he felt that she did something wrong.
Now, did you see any red flags prior to you marrying?
Yes, there's always red flags. I mean, the red flags are there. We choose not to see them because it's easier to say, oh, no, it's okay. I mean, I could sit here and share stories and stories with you of red flags, but that would take us days. It's because it's to me, even the day that I decided, one time I decided I was going to walk away, and then I went back, and that day I should have walked away. But I let myself be, just be taken by, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And also by friends that said, no, he never acted like this before. He's just happy. Don't worry about it. It will never happen again. Signs were there. We just justified them. And I know I did. I did.
Wow. Well, we really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And as you being a domestic violence advocate, what are some of the challenges that you have when you're trying to help people?
That is another good question. For years, I've been doing this, and not even before I started my own business, I didn't really realize how necessary, the work that I'm doing, how much it's needed. I didn't understand it. I was just doing it because it felt right. What I realized is that one of the challenges that I've encountered, whether it was prior to me starting my own business or now, has not changed. The problem is often, you ask yourself, why do people stay? Why do they stay? And I remember people used to ask me why I stayed. So I understand them, although it's something that I wish that we don't have to go through asking them what happened, what made you stay. And I realized that scientifically, it's been proven the survivor will leave the abuser 7 to 8 times before finally walking away. So at challenging that it may be, they have to go through that. And when we're working with victims of domestic violence, we have to understand it's not their fault. It's the situation. And it's the lies. It's the manipulation. It's the stories they tell themselves. Oh, he's going to change. or if I do this differently, things gonna be different. So therefore we stay. And knowing what it's like, yes, it bothers me, but I also understand them because I used to be in that space where I justify why I stayed.
Well, we really appreciate the work that you're doing to help domestic violence survivors and victims. And, if you know that there's someone who is in a relationship that is a domestic violence situationship, you may want to share with them the 800 number to the National DV Hotline. And it's 1-800-799-7233. And, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. I know that you are a relationship coach. So, do the experience you had with domestic violence, do it help you with your career that you have now as a relationship coach?
Yes, it does. Oftentimes I ask myself, how did I get here? Because I never believed that this is where God would have taken me. But at a very young age, people used to come and talk to me about relationships, asking questions. And I used to enjoy sharing, but not really with the understanding that I'm actually coaching. Like one of my colleagues told me one time, we were talking on the phone, and I said to her, well, guess what? I just published my book and I'm a relationship coach. She says, Maggie, you've been doing this for as long as I know you. She says, but back then we didn't call it coaching, we call it advice. So, yeah, it's just that this is just something that came to me because I think this is my calling, and I embrace it because I see that on this path I'm making a big difference in so many lives, and the women and all the couples that I've been fortunate and blessed enough to work with, I see changes in them. So I'm taking the journey.
That's a blessing. That is a blessing. And I did mention the red flags previously. Now, when you're coaching, is that a area that you talk about, like what to look for when you're single out there dating? Can you share that with us?
Yes. Now, this is a whole different part of the coaching practice.
Okay.
We just talked about the domestic violence. Now we're going to talk about the coaching aspect of it.
Okay.
One thing that I notice with my clients, and this is happening right now at this moment where I'm talking, with the clients that I'm working with. And what I realize is that women, we talk a lot. We do. And when we go on a date, we want to tell, that person we're with everything about us. And if I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, you're talking with someone and they ask you one question, and then you find yourself just like sharing, like, you can't stop. And I realize this is totally different, the way that we communicate and the way that men communicate.
Okay.
Men often ask a question, when we're talking about like dating women, right? Men will ask a question and then they will pause and wait for you to answer.
Okay.
And then we will answer. Sometimes we go back, we can ask them a question as well, but they will answer just that question. And then they'll ask us another question. And then we go on. So what we've been doing, okay, in that process, what we are doing in that process is that we are sharing everything about us. Now, this person, we don't know if he is narcissistic or if he's not. But we have shared so much in such a short time. We have given that person an open door to get to know us and see us. So what happened in a short time after we encounter with this person, they start telling us things about ourselves.
Okay.
Not only that, they start doing the things that we say we like, right? And then they start treating us as we say we want to be treated.
Okay.
And then now we don't know what happened. Now we start falling in love because this is exactly what we wanted. And we don't even understand, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this man. He knows me so well.
Yeah.
But we forgot that we told him everything he needed to know.
You're right. You're right.
So one of the things that I'm emphasizing with my clients is answer the question. That's all.
That is so good. That is so good. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wow. So you've also written several books. Can you talk about those?
Actually, the one that is published, it's called Owning um, My Destiny, Overcoming
Okay.
Toxic Relationship and Finding True Love.
Okay. Okay.
And I am working on another book that should be published soon. Keeping my fingers crossed. On this book, I actually talk about my journey, how I started, why actually I decided to write this book.
Hmm.
Um, I went to an event with Lisa Nichols, and as I was leaving, I realized that I'm a whole different person. And I was asking everybody, um, is there anything different about you? Because I'm not the same.
Hmm.
So and I felt like there was this big shift in my life.
Okay.
And as I was leaving the hotel after 4 or 5 days conference, I told some of my colleagues, I said, I'm going to write my book. And they all were like, oh, okay, that's good. Everybody says that. They're going to write their book.
Uh-huh.
And I said, no, I'm going to write my book and I'm going to meet Oprah eventually. And then they're just like laughing at me, and I'm laughing at myself too. Just the thought of what I just said, and I realized, oh my gosh, did I just say I'm going to write my book? I'm too private. My family have been,
Uh-huh.
throughout my whole life, told me, keep your personal life to yourself.
Hmm.
Don't go and write no book. What are you going to write about? What happened to you? No, that's not acceptable. But I went home anyway, and then I started writing. And I just couldn't stop. So my first chapter, I did it, like the first
Hmm.
weekend I came back home. And then I decided to contact someone to help me publish the book. Within 3 months, the book was done.
Wow.
I wanted to publish it on my birthday, so I held it for another 2.5 months, and then it was
Okay.
on my birthday because I wanted it to be a gift to myself. So I
Wow.
shared my journey. Yes, it's an interesting book, but I do have to add this to it. The first part that I sent to my publisher, when she sent it back to me, I removed half of it.
Wow.
I couldn't share. I just couldn't. It was too much. It was too painful. I couldn't stop my own tears reading my own.
Hmm.
I couldn't. So I had to make a decision that the only way for me to publish the book was for me to remove some things in there. And I also did not want it to be about anybody else. I wanted it to
Yeah.
be about me. So there's no name on there. There's nobody else's story. It's all my journey, my
Hmm.
story. That's how I ended it. Yes, it's a lot smaller book than anticipated, but I didn't feel comfortable bringing anyone into it.
Hmm. Well, I'm sure that experience freed you. Even though you didn't publish the entire story, it still allowed you to tell your story
Yes.
and put it down. Wow, that's amazing. Now, you did say something about Oprah, and I know that you are on TV. So tell us about what you do on TV.
Well, I am part of the team on Exposure Network Television,
Hmm.
and the owner of the television is Tim Lawrence.
Okay.
Actually, she started this whole vision that she had and brought it to life. It's now almost all over the place,
Okay.
and you can watch different channels like Roku, Amazon Fire Sticks, and Apple TV. So basically, I have my own channel, and then I do my own show.
Hmm.
Ironically, lately I've been out of the TV business just for a little bit of time because
Hmm.
there's been so much happening in my life.
Okay.
I'm actually also getting ready for an event, and I had to make a decision that I couldn't give halfway of anything.
Hmm.
If I'm
Hmm.
gonna do it, I have to do it all the way. So we've done a few shows. We have some more show on the work
Okay.
that should be coming out shortly. And the last show we did, we talked about menopause for women, things
Hmm.
that we go
Yeah, I
through.
did watch that one.
Yeah, so we're gonna continue talking about things that affect our lives, women, men, and kids. So I'm excited about this aspect as well.
Mm.
But I'm also very excited about this masquerade ball that we're going to have on December 10th in
Oh,
Florida.
cool. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what's going on in Florida.
Yes, yes, yes. The masquerade ball, I decided to put it together after some people reached out to me. And it was actually the first person to reach out to me was my oldest daughter. She said, Mommy, so many people are complaining about relationship, not knowing how to
Hmm.
meet people. Men are afraid the woman's going to, reject them. And
Hmm.
men don't want to be rejected. And the
Yeah.
women feel that, okay, well, they're waiting for the men to approach because they don't want to be the one perceived as the one pursuing the man.
Okay.
So everybody's standing in their corner. Nobody's moving. So how do we meet if no one is moving? So my daughter suggested, well, guess what? Why don't you have a party so people will be forced to meet and dance and talk? I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. This is not what I want to do. No, I'm not having no parties. No, I deal with my clients and I coach them and I show them what to do. I'm not having any party. And then I went to bed. The next day I woke up and it was like the whole vision was there. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. And I called some of my friends and I shared the idea. And everybody said, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's do it.
It sounds so wonderful.
Yeah, I've never had a masquerade ball before. So it's going to be the first one. And I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, anybody who wants to join, please. I don't know if it's okay that I tell them where
Oh,
to.
yes, definitely. And what date will it be?
It's going to be on December 10th,
Okay.
2022. It's a Saturday. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. And to find your tickets, just go to eventbrite.com and you can just look for my name or Masquerade Ball, Grand Masquerade Ball. It's called A Taste of Passion.
Wow. That sounds so exciting. And we've been talking about domestic violence and we've been talking about your journey
Mhm.
out of domestic violence. Can you speak to someone right now who's gone through domestic violence and feel like they don't have a purpose? Because listening to you right now, you would have never guessed that you were in a situation like that. So if somebody is watching today and they're thinking to themselves, oh my goodness, look all she's done. And she's come from the same place I'm in right now. What would you tell that person?
The first thing I would suggest to anyone, if you find yourself in a relationship that you don't even understand what it is and can't even identify if it's domestic violence or not, you need to find a support system.
Mhm.
You need to reach out to some friends, to family members that you can trust. You need to ask questions. You also can just go online and Google what is domestic violence, because then you'll have an idea
Mhm.
comparing your situation and the answer that you're reading to identify exactly where you are. But the most important thing is you need to seek help. You see, I could have done everything that I just told you. But if I did not have a professional to guide me to the journey, I wouldn't be where I am. You see, because our friends, they want to protect us. So,
Amen.
yes, they're going to give us the best advice that they know. Our family, they want to protect us, and they'll do
Mhm.
exactly the same. But the professional wants to heal you. It's a whole different journey. If I didn't have someone to guide me through that path, yes, I probably would have been a bit able to walk away.
Mhm.
But would I be where I am right now? I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of strength to be able to say, I'm owning my destiny and I'm not going to allow someone to take me a place where I don't want to be.
Wow.
And I need to own my own voice. See, one thing that I remember that happened to me that I can never forget when I was in a domestic abuse relationship was that I didn't have a voice. And when you get help, the one thing that is very important as you getting to know who you are,
Mhm.
you start owning your voice. And that is your key to walk away once you have a voice.
Wow. That was wonderful. And I love owning my destiny.
Yes.
Okay. So how can we reach you? How can we reach you?
Well, the best way to reach out to me, you can call. There's my business number is 305-546-9659. Or you can also go on my website, www.owningmydestiny.com. I'm also on every platform on social media. So you can reach out to me, leave me a message on Messenger and see what I'm doing on Facebook. We did stop our show. We had a regular show that we used to do every week, but we just started it last Wednesday. So we're back live again. So you guys can reach out to me anytime. But the most important thing is if you find yourself in a situation where you're not sure, please call the 800 hotline for domestic violence. They will give you the direction that you need to be in a place that can be safe for you and your family. And if it's okay, let me just add a quick little tips.
Okay. Yes.
If you are in a situation and you're not sure if it's domestic violence or not, I would like for you to do these things. First of all, if you are with a husband or whichever is your partner, make sure you have a double key of your house, not just your key, but double key. Number 2, save. Number 3, tell some of your friends where every time you leave in your house, tell someone where you're going to be, and have a code in case you call them so they know it means you're in danger.
Okay.
If you've been abused, remember, take pictures of every time you go to the hospital or to a doctor's office. Take pictures of your scars because these are going to help you, and also have a police report because you're gonna need all these things to get you out of the nightmare that you're in.
Okay. Now, can you repeat number 2? You broke up at number 2. What was number 2?
I don't remember which order that I told them, but basically to make sure that you have a double key and you have money. I think number 2 was money. Make sure you have some money put aside that you can always, even if you have to run out of the house with nothing, but you have some money aside that you can pick up somewhere with a friend or in your car somewhere, wherever that you feel that the money will be safe, you can get it, but not in the bank. I mean, take the cash money so you can have it with you to help you get out of that situation. If you have to leave town, go to a hotel or something. Yes.
That's some really, really good advice. Really good advice. Because a lot of people don't know, what do I do? Where do I go? And so thank you so much for sharing all of this information. You are wonderful. You are absolutely wonderful. And if there is anyone out there who's in a domestic violence situation, please call the National DV Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. And Maggie, thank you so much for being with us on today. And we really appreciate you taking your time to be with us on Morning Soulshine with Bridget. Would you like to say anything else?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm glad I was able to share. And if any of you is watching, I hope you got something from this. And please support the work that Bridget is doing because she's bringing awareness about domestic violence that affect so many people. Please support what she's doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you.